Never let me close your eyes. Only got one night. Just put your trust in me. Give me everything. I need your love tonight. So baby, please don't fight it. Put your trust in me. I'll give you everything. So hold on to me. Never let me go. Right here in your arms is where I wanna be. Close your eyes, only got one night. Just put your trust in me. Give me everything. I need your love tonight. So baby, please don't fight it. Put your trust in me. I'll give you everything. So hold on to me. Never let me go. Right here in your arms is where I wanna be.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today on this fine Sunday afternoon? My name is Puffy, and I also have beside me Mr. Forebears. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Forebears. I'm joined today by, I haven't seen him for you haven't seen him for a whole 2 solid weeks. I was able to, talk with him right before now. Puffy, welcome back to your own podcast. I'm doing great. My Thanksgiving was phenomenal. How about yourself?
So we don't actually celebrate Thanksgiving, but I did manage to celebrate Christmas last weekend with my parents because, of course, I won't be around during Christmas. I will actually be working on the day of Christmas as well. They're like, oh, it's fine though. You only have to do a half shift, which is 6 hours instead of 12. I was like, that's not really good still. I'm still pretty bummed out about that, but never mind. So I did have a little bit of food and stuff like that last weekend. So I kind of, in a way, I celebrated Thanksgiving.
I mean, in many ways, I feel like the holiday season, regardless of whichever direction you go about doing it, it's a time for celebration. It's a time for, having fun with friends and community. And I mean, hey, we're really thankful for the fact that, we're able to do this podcast and, of course, deliver a lot of content to everyone here. And I'm also so sad that, you're going on a bit of a hiatus. Like you said, when are you going to be back?
So I should be back sort of early July, assuming that they did actually extend my deployment by like a couple of months. It all completely depends on what happens really. So we'll see how it goes, play it by ear. But yeah, early July is my repatriation day. So
all right.
it should be quite good to come back. Hopefully on that day, we'll see.
And there'll still be a seat on the podcast for you when you do come back. But speaking of celebration, speaking of, explosive results, we definitely have seen a couple of things happening in week 4. And let's just get straight into it. Let's talk Overwatch. What do we got in terms of results?
So week 4 started out really well for Action News team. We managed to take the 3-1 against Seven Sins. We've yet to have the Toxic Storm versus Alpine Wolves game or the Mercury Cougars Skyhounds game. Either all these games are coming up sort of.
Right, and sort of on the other side, Breakthrough versus Lightbringers is coming up soon. Mild Esports versus Nova. And then Night Ops versus Suya. Now, talking about these matchups, I'm really excited to see the Night Ops versus Suya matchup. We get to actually talk to a pretty important member of Night Ops today as part of our interviews, especially because I've been looking over at Suya and I've been really impressed with their gameplay so far. And I think that the record so far doesn't exactly reflect their skill. So I'm looking forward to really seeing that game. Plus, I mean, the Mercury Cougars versus Skyhounds game. I mean, I have to stay true to my own team. I'm really excited for that one and really bringing home the pain. Where do you lie on Alpine Wolves versus Toxic Storms? These really two, really big juggernauts in their own right. Alpine Wolves still going undefeated. Toxic Storm 4-0ing their first 2 matches. How do you think that game is gonna peter out? Like, who are you watching for?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been kind of a little bit out of the loop over the past couple of weeks, so I haven't really had the opportunity to see these two teams play. But the results speak for themselves, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup if I'm right in saying so. It's like you say, the battle of 2 juggernauts, and I'm really interested to see who comes out on top. Really. What about yourself? Have you got anybody in particular that you feel that you stand out? Make these big plays that potentially could win the match for you?
Well, I feel like Alpine Wolves, they put a lot of stock into their tank line and their support line, and I feel like that's going to play a lot into Toxic Storm's Sombra play. I'm sure that if they're scouting properly, they're probably going to be expecting a lot of Sombra, a lot of Pharah, a lot of Hanzo over from Toxic Storm, and really, working around their flex DPS is going to be a priority for them. If I were Toxic Storm, though, I'd definitely be, on my feet, because Alpine Wolves' pedigree really speaks for itself. Still going 3-0 over in Group 1, and I want to take a moment and dispel the notions that Group 2 is the group of death, and even though the map differentials are tighter over in Group 2 than Group 1, Group 1 is still a really tough bracket, with the likes of Alpine Wolves, with the likes of Toxic Storm and Lightbringers, all being really phenomenal teams. Actually, all of them are really phenomenal teams, really in their own right. Even though there has been a couple of roster changes throughout, this past week. Let's get straight into it. The big story is the dropping of Adam X from the Lightbringers roster. Right now, Adam X, he was a really good DPS for Lightbringers. I got to talk a little bit with him about why he chose to leave and sort of what Lightbringers was losing, and he described that he described that he was a very big shot caller role on that team, that that he really liked enabling other, his other DPS dork, who he still describes as one of the best DPS in the league. Like, if people aren't looking out for him, they're doing themselves a disservice. And really, and really wanting to find perhaps another team who he could work a little better with, maybe be more comfortable with, whatever that statement means. But from what I've seen from Lightbringers, they've always been incredibly adaptable. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to really adjust around this gap, around this Adam X size gap that Lightbringers has left, or that he's left in Lightbringers' hearts. But that's going to be really interesting because he recently got picked up for Night Ops over as a flex player. Perhaps he was looking for a bit more flexibility in a team role. I'm unaware, but regardless, Night Ops was also looking for a DPS in their own right, and I think they're going to be really, really happy with that. I mean, in the Mercury Cougars Lightbringers game, Mercury Cougars, we did lose that game, and I think a big part of that was due to Lightbringers' phenomenal DPS lineup.
No, I'd agree definitely there. Yeah, some real sort of solid Doomfist and Widow play was definitely down to the kind of like a lot of the issues that were had in that game for Mercury Cougars, if I remember rightly. Definitely something to look out for there. Talking of other news as well, something coming out from Breakthrough. Matty actually has left his coaching role, I believe you said earlier.
Right.
Do we know the reason why that's happened?
I was able to talk with him a little. It was actually a big a very, very common reason that maybe a lot of streamers are getting a little bit upset with the current state of Overwatch right now, when that's just due to burnout. He described to me that he hit GM and he's like, finally, I think I've achieved a level of mastery of the game I'm happy with, and maybe it's time to take a step back and ask myself, after putting in a lot of those hours, playing games that maybe some are good, maybe some are bad, am I still willing to flip that coin and, be willing to have a bad day and put in that grind to keep that standing? And I guess for Matty A, he decided, it's time to take a step back, but he's still going to be, active within Overwatch Pretenders. He's still going to be active within Breakthrough. So, everyone, definitely give him some love. I think we've all been there when it comes to when it comes to burnout, and when it comes to just backing up and saying, you know what, I don't want to play Overwatch like for the day or for a couple days just because maybe you guys had that one game that just might have pushed you over the edge. I wanted to ask, with your experience personally, as someone who's in a bit of a higher SR bracket than I am, and as someone who's really made that climb, I'm assuming the same problems persist over at Masters and Diamond as they do at Gold and Plat, because people describe themselves as, oh, I'm stuck in ELO hell with these throwers and these griefers. Is that a thing that's consistent across every ring?
Definitely. I mean, you're never going to get away from the individuals that are a little bit more sort of toxic and stuff like that. It's just finding a way to deal with that, and a way to deal with that easily. So do I think that's ever going to change? I don't think so. It's unfortunately that's kind of ingrained in the Overwatch community. I'd like to see it change, and I'm definitely open to kind of suggest how that would be possible. But then obviously, personally, I mean, overall I found it quite positive actually, this sort of climb that I've made, and I found that actually people just kind of accept that people probably aren't going to change heroes, even if you suggest it in a nice way. Sometimes just speak ways. It's just trying to make it work, and that kind of attitude comes a little bit more sort of later on in this. I think it's because people don't actually realize the kind of like detrimental sort of aspect of kind of complaining or having a go at someone because of their picks, because of their, just because something isn't meta, and like stuff like this. It's just I can completely understand like why everybody gets burnt out, because you will get these people regardless. In every sort of in every game you'll get people that are just gonna be out there to kind of like ruin it for whatever reason, and I can completely understand that. And you sort of mentioned something earlier with regards to like, it's very much to do with like a flip of the coin, as to whether or not you're gonna get a good team this time, And I've heard that expression sort of made over multiple different chats that I've had, and also obviously Seagull made that rather lengthy video on how on the state of Overwatch and stuff like that, and he commented on then, you know, that it really is a kind of a gamble, really, whether or not you're going to get a good game and stuff. It's tough, really. Pup needs a volume boost. All right, I'll boost myself up a bit. There we go. That should be a little bit better.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask, a lot of people have, you know, when comparing Overwatch to other sort of traditional esports, I'm going to take League of Legends as an example. A lot of people in League, they're thinking, you know, the game begins to tilt your teammates when you start to lose in a League, like when you start, you know, losing that micro battle. But on Overwatch, people start getting tilted at hero select before the game even starts. Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because if like all it takes is for someone to pick up like a hero that's not particularly meta or something like that, like you know, who would I pick at the moment that's particularly bad.
Symmetra, Torbs.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, well,
actually, Torb's not bad. Never mind. I'm gonna take that back.
Sim's not bad. You know what? In the right situation, like in the right hands, you can see a real kind of like powerful sort of strategies come out with using Symmetra to, you know, kind of like reposition your team behind, you know, the enemy lines and kind of put yourself on the high ground. And like, yeah, with the teleporter, you know, you can't underestimate the kind of value that you can get out of that. With Sim, she's kind of one of those ones in the right hands, really powerful.
Right.
But, someone like you know, it's tough because people will kind of automatically assume that the Brig's going to be in every game. So as soon as someone picks Tracer or Genji, you're automatically thinking, oh god, okay, that's not the greatest pick, because obviously they get shut down so hard by Brigitte at the moment. Although changes coming in potentially might make it a bit easier for Tracer and Genji.
Yeah. Have you checked out those PTR patches? Well, let me read some out for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Over on PTR, Brig Shield Bash damage is reduced from 50 to 5. The duration of Inspire is increased from 5 to 6 seconds. The cooldown of Inspire is reduced from 1.5 to 1 second, and then total healing is increased from 80 to 100. So they're taking down her one-shot combo for these 150 HP heroes, but also increasing her healing aura to be, you know, to have her be sort of the aura healer companion over to Lucio. The rationale was reduces her total stun combo damage potential while still allowing whip shot and her basic melee attacks to retain full strength. Brig is a hybrid tank healer, and lately we've been reducing her effectiveness by lowering the power of her non-healing functionality, but we still want to make sure that she's a viable pick, so we're increasing the uptime of her Inspire passive to help improve her overall healing output. That was why Brig was changed. Do you think this change in particular is maybe a step in the right direction?
Definitely a step, yeah, 100%. And I think it's interesting there that they made the comment that she's kind of reducing the aspects of her that makes her kind of feel a little bit more like a DPS. So those CC, that CC obviously with the additional added value of having damage added onto that is the real value kind of ability. So yeah, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, but I'd still like to see her deleted now, but like made kind of like a little bit more difficult. As someone who plays a lot of Rhine now, funny enough, I get put into like main tank role still, even in this current season.
Right.
I still find it difficult with the amount of CC that's out. It can be real kind of it's not going to get rid of the fact that you can run goats and kind of get those real sort of powerful stun shatters off and kind of really change your team fight. But again, it takes a lot of skill to kind of do that, so I can appreciate the kind of aspects of that as well. Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction, and I like the changes to her aura. Though I don't think it makes that much of a difference, the Inspire duration sort of lasting longer, because if you're playing Brig and you're not kind of refreshing that Inspire time,
it's constant in many situations regardless. Right. For me, I really wanted to see a change, and I'm so sorry for speaking over you. It's just I had to really say this. I really wish that Shield Bash took like a bit of like shield health as payment. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like her shield 600 shields. I wish Shield Bash took 100 shield just in terms of cost as well as the cooldown to play, because maybe it would allow for a bit more of a strategic play of like, hey, do I want to Shield Bash now when like maybe risk losing my shield, or maybe do I want to hold a little back and maybe I can protect my teammates or protect my current position. That'd be really, really cool, and maybe allow for a bit of counterplay. I really wanted to see just sort of another form of payment for that. But I fear it may fall into this sort of the same lens as like the pre-buff Lucio boop, where the boop used to cost 4 ammunition as well as a cooldown, and a lot of people are like, why are you double dipping in this cost? And I don't exactly know if that's sort of the right direction to go. Something I do agree a lot more with is those Doomfist nerfs, and let's talk about those as well. Doomfist Seismic Slam, victims no longer lose air control while being pulled in. I'm so excited about this change, by the way. I felt so helpless as a paltry Ana if I ever got uppercutted by Doomfist, or Seismic Slam and then comboed. So Seismic Slam, victims no longer lose air control while being pulled in. Meteor Strike, inner ring damage radius is increased from 1.5 to 2 meters, so that's still a thing. And so that's the ring where Meteor Strike deals its full damage. So a bit of a buff over to Meteor Strike. The max damage outside of inner ring is decreased from 300 to 200. So where the damage fall off happens. And the changes were about trying to give his enemies more opportunities to effectively fight back. And Meteor Strike change will make it harder to secure a free kill on heroes without mobility, such as Zen or Ana, while still preserving its max potential damage when aimed well or when combined with other abilities such as Grab or Sleep Dart. Puppy, thoughts?
So actually, I'd like to make a comment first about the kind of state of Doom, that he is a pub stomper at the moment, and that's because a group of 6 random people are going to struggle to kind of coordinate well enough to be able to counter him. And I saw like a really good clip from, I think it was Dante. He commented on the fact that Doomfist doesn't get played in like Overwatch League, and in professional play at all, because they know how to counter him, and they know how to kind of like deal with Doomfist really, really well. Obviously, just being able to kind of support their teammates and pill in an effective manner, and kind of saving those abilities to be able to like stun them and stuff like that. So he felt that Doom was not in a particularly great place to be kind of affecting the pro scene at least. But I think he kind of like conceded the fact that he is at the moment a complete pub stomp, and he's so frustrating to play against. All of us have had the opportunities where we've been had to play supports and stuff like that, and you're just sat in the back line, you're just so helpless, just knocked up in the air, pushed back, or play him right, getting just pushed back and knocked up and flying around. And I still remember that one aimbot Calvin video where he just got so completely CC'd out to death from like Brig and Doomfist. He was like,
I remember that, yeah.
I can't do anything. It's like, please let me play the game. So yeah, it's good to get rid of that sort of frustration from playing a competitive Overwatch. But I think that just kind of puts him in a less likely place that we'll see him very often played professional. For that particular reason. With
the whole shield interaction of how Shield Bash and Shatter was such a big combo, right? It was it was a way to get almost like a really solid 3 or more man Shatter every single time if the enemy team's playing behind a Rhine shield. Do you think Rocket Punch is going to replace the Brig stun in having that type of stun Shatter combo, or do you think Brig is still going to retain her spot as the person that makes Goats function, with her ultimate still being as valuable as she is? Maybe if like a Lucio speed boosted her and she could just sort of dip in behind the Reinhardt shield and get the stun in, maybe that offers some areas of counterplay. But where do you think that stun Shatter combo goes, and where do you think Goats goes from here?
I don't think Goats goes. That's the
you
thing.
don't?
I don't think it. I know that there was a lot of sort of communication, like a lot of chat about whether or not Goats would be affected much by this nerf. I still think there's a lot of aspects to Goats that kind of needs to be changed for it to be even considered to be not a viable strategy anymore. purely for the fact that the amount of healing, obviously, the amount of damage that you can output into kind of like one particular person that you're focusing on is still like an insane amount of damage. They haven't really nerfed her in a sense of like her damage over time with her like flail and stuff like that, and so they haven't really kind of affected that much. The stun is obviously still there. The kind of inspire time obviously is even better now. So despite the fact that obviously we made the comment that it won't make that much of a difference, the kind of like leftover fact, if she kind of gets pushed out of position, is not able to kind of get into a position where she can actually refresh that inspire time, she's still going to be able to hail people in a kind of effective manner as well. So I don't think Doomfist can ever replace that particular aspect of it, because he'll just be literally a stun on a stick really then for that fact.
And I can't help but make the comparison of stun now to flashbang, because like the range is very similar, the damage it does is very similar, the duration of the stun is exactly the same. Is that do you think the next way to begin thinking about break stun? Just treat it like a flashbang. If you're a tracer, see if you can like just blink in and out, because I've seen tracers outplay McCree's both on high levels and in games of Overwatch Pretenders. Do you think that that's the way now to play around Brig?
I think that's always been the only way to play around Brig. Unfortunately, if you're running a kind of like dive heavy comp or any kind of comp that you have to kind of get in and brawl, really, a real kind of death bally kind of comp, you're always going to be faced with not being able to avoid Brig. So the likes of like Tracer on like a sort of dive heavy comp, I mean, you just see people just straight pit, just move off it because of that hassle, really. But it is possible to kind of, we've seen like players that like a professional level and elsewhere, that are able to kind of outplay Briggs. But the amount of resources that you have to put into kind of doing that is kind of crazy, honestly. And if you're not completely
because Briggs
perfect
has
with
so
it,
much sustain.
exactly, yeah. Especially if she's got the rest of the team around her, which she should do at all times, really. She should never be in a position where she's like brawling outside of her team, really. She's always going to be in and around it. There's always going to be someone who can peel and stuff. So you're not just facing against a Brig all the time. If you're a 1v1 in a Brig, then you definitely have like a decent chance of outplaying her. But again, the resources you're going to put into it could potentially be a bit later on. So yeah, it's an interesting change to Brig and to Doomfist. But I think overall the people that are going to be affected are probably just the pub guys. I think the pro scene will still see a lot of gates. Personally.
All right. I mean, hey, you heard it from the man himself. I actually had one last question for you, and that's I don't know if you had the privilege of catching up on last night's like 3 a.m. hell chat on the Overwatch Pretender server. Did
I was out and about. I'm still hungover, my dude.
So there was a pretty heated conversation between a certain Maesh and a certain Spidey about if D.Va is considered overpowered and if versatility can be correlated to power level in this day and age. And so on one side there was one. It was Maesh was saying that she didn't need a nerf because even though she was good at a lot of things, she wasn't overall good at anything, and that she still was able to be outplayed with this really big hitbox. Hit scan characters can just farm her for ultimate, and she can feed if not played right. But on the other side, Spidey was saying that because she has so many abilities, and because she's a little bit good at everything, she can test high ground, do burst damage, eat ults, and so on and so forth. And because she was very, very highly picked in pro play, coming up at 98% in Overwatch World Cup per map or something similar, that she did need a nerf. And so just sort of rounding out this meta discussion, my last question to you is like, D.Va, where do you stand, and do you think that all of these sort of reasons on if she should have a nerf, I guess, like, where do you stand on that?
Well, I mean, like the key kind of point of a D.Va and the most effective D.Va players will probably test this as well. Is that her defense matrix is probably the thing that makes her most valuable as a character in the game. Right? Obviously, bombs can sort of change fights, but they're very, very kind of like inconsistent, and we can't always guarantee that you're gonna get a good one off. Whereas like defense matrix has just always been the kind of like, I think, the point of contention for people, mainly because like it's like you say, it's so powerful, able to eat ult, it's able to kind of like absorb so much damage sort of income and everything like that. It's I can see both points. I can see the point of that she's at the moment, she's kind of like a necessary to keep her where she is, to deal with those kind of like unnecessary evils that we do have to face in every single play. And that's why, like, I think going back to kind of Doomfist, and we will see a lot more of Doomfist's sort of combos. Generally, you have to use his left click. You have to use his and a sort of a particularly efficient sort of diva or proficient diva will be good enough to be able to peel for their supports to stop them getting these and potentially save them with a boop as well. So definitely in a sense of like dealing with the current meta and kind of shaping things a little bit, a bit more into the favor of like what feels a little bit more skillful rather than just kind of running straight into the face of each other. I think she's in a good place, but I can understand Spidey's point that she does have a lot of kit that allows her to do so many different roles of like being this dive tank, but also being able to kind of run these sort of Rhine diva comps as well, which you don't see as much anymore, but definitely with a sort of proficient diva, efficient, very useful to have. So I can see her. I don't think Blizzard will nerf her because everybody's sole focus right now is purely on sort of like how much CC there is, and Diva's not one of those heroes that kind of like feels like
that really feels that
she's
niche.
Not frustrating. Yeah. She's not frustrating to play against. She's not frustrating to play with. She's a real kind of like, I think that's the thing, is like you got to balance up whether it's like what's enjoyable versus what's good for the game, and I think in terms of like professional level, our level,
we're not professionals. You heard it first, puppy.
It's difficult, and I can completely understand Blizzard's kind of frustrations of being able to kind of balance that. Really, it is a juggling act, and I think I can't remember who it was that I heard, but they're kind of like trying to do a job of halfway housing it between kind of pros and kind of like low level players to ensure that there is fun for people to play, because that's really where they should be making their most money, is a lot of kind of like the kind of community in general, getting them involved in the game, because everybody says, okay, well, there's not much microtransactions and stuff like that after that. They don't really make money after that, but to get people interested in the game and watching kind of stuff like the Overwatch League and stuff like that, you've got to have the interest in the game in the first place. I think that's why you kind of see a lot of the kind of like buffs and nerfs coming out to favor those who just play it on a casual basis. Yeah, so it's a tough one. I like the nerfs.
A really good suggestion that I heard was that there was one person, and I forget who said it, who said, a lot of other sort of protection abilities like Zarya's bubble, we know when they're on cooldown. As in, like once it breaks, we can reasonably assume that for the next couple of seconds, that Zarya's personal or other bubble would be on cooldown for that amount of time. But we don't have any indicator for Diva running out of defense matrix other than these like really shrill beeps that are pretty easy to overhear, right? And if there was maybe like a light on like her shoulders that went from like green to yellow to red to sort of correlate with the amount of defense matrix she had left, and like maybe like a flashing red to say that, oh, she's out of defense matrix, it would make it a lot less frustrating to play against, because then you still have that sort of visual indicator. Do you think that sort of change, that sort of visual tell would be appropriate for the game in line with the other characters?
I think I can understand your point that it's not very visual and it's very difficult to kind of play in that sense, but I don't think it's that much of an issue that it could it requires a change to that sort of extreme. I mean, like obviously it's still like it'd be an interesting concept to see, and like but I think everybody knows that if she uses, even if she just taps like Defense Matrix, then it does go on cooldown for a split second. So it kind of opens up that window of being able to use stuff like Grav into team fights. So just sort of baiting out like a Diva Matrix, and then as soon as she puts it down, then you can sort of throw out your kind of Grav. I think that's the only time that I would really either be concerned about Defense Matrix if I was playing something that had like a projectile Zaya or May,
Right.
These kind of projectile ultimates that can be eaten. It's definitely, that's probably the biggest thing. But yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable to kind of have a little think about what we could do to make her feel a little bit easier to play against in that sort. Yeah, no, I can see where you come. But
Right.
I think if you're good enough and you play against Diva long enough, then you kind of really handle on her Defense Matrix and how it works. What your windows of opportunities are and how.
Right. So, enough about meta talk. I know you guys are here for the interviews, and we definitely have our first interview guest ready. While I try to sneeze and obviously mute myself, please welcome David from Alpine Wolves.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for making yourself available, David. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
We're all doing really well. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the podcast. Just go to town, dude.
Okay. I'm the Flex DPS player for the Alpine Wolves, and I also schedule our games and scrims.
Cool. Sounds like a fun gig. Congrats on Alpine Wolves' really insane season so far. You guys are 3-0. And I just have so many questions. First, like, what do you think leads to your success? Just like what's like your team culture like? I just want to know a little bit more about your team. Just tell us about it.
I think our team culture is like disciplined and focusing on working really hard in our scrims and not like messing around. Focusing on making sure that all of our comps run properly and that our teamwork is on point and our comms are good.
Right. And obviously, the results speak for themselves. What do you think your team does differently than other teams?
I would have to say that we practice, like when we practice, right? We don't do any like meme comps or anything like that. We sit down and do our job, and we also ult track a lot.
Do you have any tips for other people who might be ult tracking for their teams? Because the amount of counterplay that I've seen in your games, especially against Lightbringers, it's been really dominant. And I just wanted to ask, if you could give, say, some tips to just any other team, what they would be.
I'd say once like ult tracking, once you figure it out, it just takes practice. But once you do it, you need to make plans based off of what your ult tracks. Like I know that our team, once we ult track, we always think, all right.
Oh, David,
we always
there.
We always think like what should our plan, like who should we focus, what ult should we use to counter what they have. Like an example would be if like they have Hanzo, or if they have Grab and Dragon, focus like the Hanzo for running dive, because they could easily wipe us. But if we focus Hanzo, then they're just stuck with a Grab and we might have sound barrier and we can win the fight.
Okay. I did want to ask about sort of the other players on your team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of just say out a team, just say out a teammate's name, and you tell me just your gut reaction just about them. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, tell me about Mystic.
Really good comms, mirror comms, and tells us like the speed boost and stuff.
Nice. What about a Solitude?
Really big brained. He always helps me. We always like I always play far and stuff, and he always matrixes my barrages and stuff.
Hmm. Nice. What about Maish? Maish?
I always call him
However you
Maish,
pronounce
but I'm pretty sure
it. Maish
it's
it is.
Maish. But he's really insane at like hitting shots, and we always do the nano blade, and he's a really good mercy pocket.
Yeah, his Ana play is really good. Like I'm always very impressed by his Ana play. I have a lot to learn from him, that's for sure. Tell me about Elodian.
Lothian, oh, he's just absolutely insane. He
Yeah.
clicks so many heads. It's really funny.
Always good.
Yeah, he's just clicks so many heads.
Oh, we all know how important head clicking is in this era. Tell me about Nathan.
Nathan, insane comms. He like micromanages me to the point where like I just do what he says, and that's how we win.
Yeah,
Brains.
I can definitely empathize with that. What about Rick?
Rick, he's really good at ult tracking. He tends to track all the ults for us, and he's really good at Lucio.
He is really good at Lucio, no doubt. Have I mentioned Elodian yet?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I did. Who am I missing? I'm definitely oh, Purple and Expert. That's right. Tell me about Purple.
Purple, he's really good. He loves anime. He's he's a really good support, and he has good synergy with all of us.
Anyone who says Weebs get out instantly gets banned. Just want to let you know. And then Xburn 3.
Expert, he's so willing to learn. He's really good off tank. Really does well with like goats and stuff, but he's really willing to learn, and he like shows up to scrims with a full mindset of improving himself.
It's really cool. I'm really glad that your team culture is one of a lot of discipline and a lot of improvement, because that's what Overwatch Pretenders is all about. I do want to ask, with someone who is with a team that's filled with really good communicators, I'm guessing comms are really cluttered. So has that been a challenge? Because even though your record speaks for itself, you guys are a new team. Are you still building that team synergy compared to some of the other teams from season 0 and season 1 of Pretenders? Or how's sort of the new team feeling been holding up so far?
I'd say that our like synergy and stuff is really good. Like I said, like Sol 2, he'll DM all my barrages. I remember like in a match once, I was like, all right, I'm gonna barrage here, and then and I just expected the DM from Solitude, but then I get a bubble and we like get 3 with it, and we're all just like popping off. The comms do get cluttered. We need to kind of focus them down a little bit more, but I don't know. I like cluttered comms. That's just me. I hear everything that I need to hear, and if you communicate everything, then everything can be heard, and nothing can be missed.
Right. I guess someone who I missed when I was talking about your team in general was your coach, Felicity. Could you tell me a little bit about their coaching style? They're obviously an excellent coach. If they've led you to so much success so far, just what's it like being a student of theirs?
So we have two coaches actually. We have Felicity
forgive me.
and Day Beezy. Both of them are absolutely like 2,000 IQ. That Felicity and Day come up with all sorts of different team comps for us to run, different strategies. Felicity tends to focus more on our communication because Felicity was in the Air Force. So he has a really good focus on the comms, and then Day focuses on a lot of analytical stuff. Felicity also focuses on individual players and like pickups and stuff, and I know every time we pick someone up, Felicity really focuses on how willing they are to learn. We don't have like anyone on our team with a huge like attitude or anything like that, and that's mainly because Felicity picks that out and sees who wants to learn.
Right. Bless you, puppy.
I muted myself on stream as well, just to like so they didn't hear it, and you just sold me out. Come on, bro.
But in any case, I do have a lot of questions on what sort of when deciding a new composition. Say you're preparing for a game. What's always the what's the approach here? Like, say, hey, you're about to play you're about to play a game in a week. How much of that is scouting in your team, and how much of that is, just working on your own individual mechanics? Do you go through their VODs and try to practice certain strats, or is it more just like, here's a arsenal of comps we're going to have, and we're just going to know what we run best?
So we have like a big kind of pool of just comps that we can run, and then we kind of pick out which comps will work best against which teams. Like, I know for Lightbringers, we were like, they tend to run dive a lot, so we were like, okay, we'll go goats mainly, and then we'll go from there. And then like different maps, we done different strats and stuff, just depending on what the team plays. Because I know like Lightbringers runs the bashing comp, so we immediately said, we're gonna go Junkrat Hanzo on Junkertown in order to counter that. And then that completely worked because we got like a 3-man tire, and then held on like second.
So would you say that you're kind of more of a kind of reactive team in general then? You just kind of react to kind of like, do you work best in that sort of way? Or do you ever kind of had times when you actually think, actually, we're going to take the lead on this, we're going to run this comp, and we're going to...
We always have a plan going into it, but then we can react to it inside of a map or after the map, depending on how well comps run or something.
I did want to ask, is just as a team, is there a particular hero that you're very like proud of how your team chooses to run? Like, are you really proud of just Alpine Wolves as a whole, like their Diva play or their Genji play or their Zen play or anything like that?
I'd have to say our Brig play is definitely our best, the way we hold mouse 1 and W, just sometimes you can't beat it.
It's really you gotta get those 1,000 polling hertz like mice. That's how you really know. That's how you really know you're playing in the big leagues.
You hold it the hardest. That's what it is. The harder you hold left click, the better that is.
Exactly.
I did have one more question, and it's very likely, just based on how the patches are going, that Ash might be, will be introducing herself to competitive play before the season's over. Has your team been messing around just with her play style and sort of how she fits in the comps? Like, have you been using her in scrims?
Like I said, really focused and disciplined during practice, so we already have team comps. We've already practiced her a little bit. We know how she fits into the current patch. We'll see how she works on the next one, but we already have team comps and kind of maps that we want to run around.
Nice. All right. Well, I don't have any other questions. I guess I'm just gonna roll out the red carpet. If you want to plug anything, now's your moment. Yeah, go for it, dude.
My Twitch, I have 35 followers right now. If I get 15 more, I get what's it called? Affiliate. So I'm like gonna say something in chat so you can all follow me. There you go. Yeah, I would appreciate that so much, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Of course, and thank you so much for making yourself available. Good luck to you and Alpine Wolves in all the future games. And hey, I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. Take care.
All right.
Now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Too quick.
Oh, too quick. We're gonna spaz out for a second.
Right, we're good.
All right, and we're good. Yeah, so everyone be sure to definitely follow David. I don't think links are allowed in chat, so if someone wants to just put like his his Twitch thing in there, go ahead. Our next guest is one of the coaches, and this one's from Night Ops. It's a Lycan. So Lycan, come on in. Lycan, come on in. Hey, test test. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for making yourself available. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty well.
Good. It's the first time we've actually spoken to each other. Like this is the first time I'm actually speaking to Lycanthrope. So, but it looks like everybody else knows definitely who you are. Introduce yourself, dude.
Hi, I'm Lycanthrope. I'm the coach for Night Ops. I used to be a former member, and it's good to be here.
Nice. Have you been here since the very beginning?
I actually have. I competed in Season 0 and half or most of Season 1. Season 0 champs. So,
Nice. Oh
Nice.
wow. I'm in the presence of two veterans. That means did you have battles with Puppy like in the season or were both you on the same team?
no, we had, yeah, he was on Mercury Cougars, and
Mhm.
I was on what used to be Scuffed.
Mhm.
And so, I thought Mercury Cougars did well during the season, and I thought Puppy was a really good contender for
Thank you.
himself. Yeah.
Well, you're pulling his heartstrings right there. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in Overwatch Pretenders.
Usually I was browsing the casual Reddit, and I stumbled across a post saying that it was basically competitive without losing SR, and I thought that was like a really good idea.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be fun to join and improve, and I'm here now coaching a team. So
How have you found
And
that
really-
kind of a transition between sort of being a player and then going into coaching? Obviously, I'm still going through the sort of whole process myself. I haven't really had a lot of time to kind of do a lot of coaching for the guys because obviously I'm heading off. But how have you found it in general?
it's basically like the same as playing a game. You have to understand like what your team is doing and basically communicate it back to them. Tell them how to improve. I'm like a big advocate for like helping your own team improve in game as a player, and so just doing that on the outside is way much easier. So
And your teams, they've had a decent amount of success. They're in the top half, definitely of Division 2. What do you think has led to their success so far?
I think just a really good synergy between them and just keeping a positive mental attitude. Usually the mental attitude is what helps you stay in the game, and basically try to use that attitude to triumph over the other enemy teams, and that's what I like to believe.
Definitely I'm a big believer in mental attitude. Having that ability to be able to like reset after kind of losses is a real strong, strong sort of asset to have. I completely agree. I think of Vecca before. It's
Yeah, and team synergy, has that been sort of a concern for you ever since you did pick up Adam X? Of course, Adam X is a phenomenal player, really, really good comms. How does he fit into the puzzle here for Night Op?
Well, Adam X is like a really good flex player. I believe that the team captains, both Moose and Beetle, they chose to pick him up because he feels like, or they feel like, he fits well into our team and what we need as a team for roles. And so with the addition of like other people, like say Ramen Kun, they just like fit like really well into what we need, and I think the synergy is great between them.
Nice. I haven't. So I'm right now going through your roster right now, and I've heard of a lot of these players. Someone, unfortunately, who I haven't heard of is Zalclose. Could you tell me a little bit about them?
Oh, so Zalclose, he's been since like the Scuffed era.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he just he's not very like public about his anything really.
Fair enough.
But Zalclose is like a really good basically flex support, main support, whatever you need him to be. And I think that that's just a really good for our team, and what we need. So
All right. Well, fair enough. What do you think that your team does differently than, say, other teams in Division Two or even Division One?
I think that Night Ops has the ability to adapt more frequently
Mm-hmm.
towards whatever the enemy team comp is running,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps us gain the upper hand and have
Yeah.
a better advantage than the other team. So
Definitely. The Night Ops Nova game was a really, really big testament to that. Congratulations on your recent victory, by the way. Um, I I did want to ask, right now you're in serious contention for the playoffs. If you do end up going to playoffs, can I ask, as a coach, who you think your biggest rivals here of Group One are going to be?
I definitely think that Alpine Wolves, even though they're like a new team, they still
Mhm.
have the ability to like improve on themselves, and
Mhm.
because they've only been like a team for what, like 2 months or so.
Right, right. A little
And
less,
so,
but yeah.
or yeah, uh, and so that makes it scary. So because they're not at their full potential,
Mhm.
and I'm really like eager to see what they can do on their full potential.
All right, and so let's see. It looks like Nunups is gunning for Alpine Wolves. You guys have a game coming up pretty soon. In let me see. Let me quickly pull up the calendar right here. Who is your next game? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's Suya, I believe.
It's sweet. That's right. And so can I ask just how you're preparing for this next game? Have you also been scouting a little bit? What's sort of the Night Ops approach to how you go about preparing for a game?
Usually we don't scout out the other teams. Maybe the players do, but not really the coaches. As the coach, we're trying to improve our players and how they play in the game, and
Mhm.
so we like to focus on ourselves more than the others, and
Mhm.
try to learn how to like change up the composition on whether Suya or whatever enemy team is
Mhm.
gonna run. And I think the ability to adapt for us is pretty good.
Sounds good. It's an adaptable team like no other. Puppy, I'm going to field this one over to you. How important is adaptability? I mean, obviously, it's very, very important, but could you go a bit in a little bit more detail about why it's so important or why you've chosen to focus on that as sort of a win condition? Sorry, I said puppy, I meant Lycan.
I was gonna say, who are me?
Uh, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Sure. So it looks like you've taken sort of a flex, like a flex approach, rather than trying to find people who are very specialized within their own roles. I wanted to ask about the reasoning of having a flex-based roster, and do you think that's been a bit of an asset? Have people in your team found it difficult to swap to different roles so quickly on the fly, or was it more of an innate talent that drew you to them?
Uh, well, having more flex roles really helps with the team because it's better for one person to learn like maybe 3 or 4 roles,
Mm-hmm.
or like 3 or 4 heroes, rather than just being good on one hero.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the enemy team learns how to counter you during that
Mm-hmm.
match, then you wouldn't know how to like change during that. And I
Right.
think it's really bad if you have like somebody who only plays one hero per se.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely true. Um, I have, no other questions. I'm very, very I'm very impressed with your tank line and your support players just in general. I very much think that that there are definitely people I'm always really, really excited to see. But I wanted to ask a bit more about your DPS. Do you think they're underrated? I feel like a lot of people talk about these really star players like like Crow on Nova or like Chesh on Mercury Cougars. I want you to talk about the DPS in Night Ops.
Oh yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
DPS, we have both of our team captains on DPS, Majestic Moose and Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
And Beetle has been here since like basically week 1 of Scuffed. So Beetle knows a lot of the team and he knows how to manage it properly. He's also a really good flex DPS as he knows how to play like a lot of the characters, even though there's like 20 characters in DPS role. Majestic Moose is also a really good DPS. He knows like the basics of say like Sombra or like DPS heroes like that. I just think that his ability to flex to other DPS roles is like really good for the team. Juice has recently made the switch from support to DPS, and he's like in that little gray spot, but I know he's like willing to improve, and he's like testing it out in comp and everything, and I know he's like a great player. Jar is, however, a new pickup, which we recently got, and he is testing out the waters on different heroes, but his like Doomfist and Pharah are really good, and that's what I think Night Ops needs. So
having everyone, you know, have time to play, you know, with such a big roster at 12 people, has that been a problem for you?
Usually we would have a full 6. They're pretty much active. Some of our members, however, like say Mass Murdoch or who we recently dropped Ollie, they've had like personal problems in their life, and we're trying to like we would want to get them back in, but it's completely up to them. So yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. It sounds like you're taking this very mature, level-headed approach of, you know, having people do what they do best and really working around people's very particular hero pools. And I think that's a phenomenal approach to coaching. I have no other questions. Puppy, do you have any?
Yeah, so obviously you have like all these kind of like ties to sort of Scuffed and kind of moving through to this sort of new age now. Are you planning, like, obviously alongside coaching or something like that, are you planning to kind of get back into playing at all, maybe looking for like an open division team or anything like that? Is that something you're looking to do? Are you kind of like, do you need that itch? You know, do you scratch that itch of playing again, or do you scratched?
Oh yeah, definitely. Right now, since I think it was last season, I barely made it into like Masters and Grandmaster. I'm still trying to find my spot in ranked where I could feel comfortable in. And recently, I haven't been searching for a team because I want to focus on like my playstyle, and I want to focus on coaching my teams and how to improve them, while I try to find my area in competitive and base my scrims and match times in open division on that.
All right. Mature way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very, very impressed. Like, I'm like, whoa. But in any case, thank you so much for being here. It's time for us to really roll out the red carpet. You know, if you have anything to plug, now's the time to do it. Yeah.
You could follow my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Laganthrope with a 0 instead of the O at the end because somebody took it. Not many people on my team stream, so yeah, that's all.
All right, and of course, be sure to check out Night Ops' next game versus Suya coming up this week. So really be on the lookout for that. And of course, to see Adam X, you know, hopefully have his appearance under the Night Ops banner soon enough. So hey, thank you so much for being here again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, take care now.
All right.
All righty, and that was once again a Lycanthrope. Be sure to follow him over on twitch.tv/LYCANTHR0PE. Our next guest is actually somebody who's actually made these wonderful sort of screens around us. It's going to be Lord of Nothing. He's in charge of a lot of the graphics here on the Pretenders Pod and in other places. Come on in.
Loading.
Oh, that light is still in the background. Let me remove that.
Hola, Lord. How's it
Hello.
going?
Hello, humans or human-looking things. I don't know. You could be aliens.
I mean, aren't we all aliens in some respect? I don't know. I'm not in the mood to get existential. Can Omnix die? I don't know. Who really knows? I'm probably
I don't know.
using it on the stream right now.
I can check my BattleNet records and I can tell you how many times an Omnic can die.
You know, fair enough. Thank you so much for making yourself available. We definitely know who you are. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everyone. I am Lord of Nothing. I used to be a attempted streamer and YouTuber before real life decided, hey, Lord, do you want 2 jobs and a lot of debt? Here you go. Did you sign up for this? No. Kill me now.
Okay.
I hope you don't take that same approach to helping us out with the Pretenders pod. I want to take this opportunity because it is Thanksgiving weekend. First of all, thank you for all the intense work that you've done. Everything you see in terms of like the cool graphics, that logo in the center one of these corners. That was made by Lord of Nothing as well as a P Dungy, and of course our excellent graphics team over on the pod. But I want to ask, just how did you get involved in Overwatch Pretenders? How did you get involved in the pod? I know this story, but I want to hear it again.
So essentially, I'm sitting at work looking at Reddit because I'd rather do that than working. And I see that a certain someone has put up like, hey, I like to make a league for people to get better at Overwatch. And I joined the league, and someone says, hey, let's all have logos for the teams. Is like, and people submit logos and said, that looks awful. Let me do it. And then I decided to do about like half of them. And I think I did like 3/4 of the original teams. And then as more of the season's gone on and I've gotten busy, I've gotten to do less of them, but I still do a fair number of them. Mostly it's just, I just do either the logos, some of the graphics. I do a good chunk of the graphics for the YouTube channel when they actually use them. And the graphics for the streams, again, when they actually remember to use them.
Right.
But yeah, so that's just my bit. I don't really get to play Overwatch as much as I'd like to anymore, which is actually really hurts my soul. But that's just really how it goes. Yeah, I'd love to be shooting my balls at people, but just doesn't happen near as much.
You know what? Fair enough. But in any case, I guess we're when you don't play Overwatch, I know you're definitely helping out a lot of other Overwatch teams with a lot of the work you do. How did you get involved in graphic design?
Let's see. Technically, I have a degree in it, but though I mostly got it through someone giving me a cracked version of Photoshop.
Nice.
So it's like, and then I opened it and I was like, what do I do? And then just slowly doing YouTube and getting a degree in it that has paid literally no bills. So don't choose your majors wisely, kids.
Is graphic design definitely something you want to do in the future?
Graphic design is something I enjoy doing, though it's not what I love doing. The most of the things I really love doing is stuff like illustrations, especially stuff for like games and other things. I'm doing on the side, I'm kind of helping out some guys in my local area because one of my jobs is I work at a tabletop RPG store, card shop, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of thing. And some guys around that sort of thing are wanting to make their own sort of game, and they need someone to make it look pretty, that it actually could stand up on the shelf if it ever made its way to the shelf.
Okay. So you've been part of many a Kickstarter campaign, I take it.
Well, it's not gone to Kickstarter yet, mostly because I told them if you're gonna put it up on Kickstarter, the best way to do it is make sure you would want to throw money at it before you would want to throw a Kickstarter. Show something that's actually viable before you have a Kickstarter.
Right.
Like I have done a little bit of work for Kickstarter. I've done a little bit of work for other YouTube channels and streamers. But a lot of my work just actually involves the actual physical realm. I would prefer much rather to be back on the internet full time again.
Yeah.
It's just not viable right now. Damn you, bills.
Fair enough. How was your Thanksgiving? How'd you spend your Thanksgiving weekend?
I spent my Thanksgiving screaming at a 3D printer. A guy
Nice.
at the game store offloaded a 3D printer, and myself and the roommates picked it up. And we've been slowly figuring out how we can break this thing.
Sorry, how you can break this thing?
Well, it's really we figured we could just download a thing, print it, and go. That was a
No.
lie. That's a
No,
lie.
It doesn't work like that. I think you can ask Majestic Moose how 3D printers work. I think
Oh,
all
no,
of you
we-
saw those little tokens he's making.
Oh yeah, I've been talking to him a good bit when I'm actually home, and attempting to make stuff like for my Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, other such things. He did send me the files for the little tokens. I just haven't had a moment to even try to attempt to print them.
I bet you have some sick D&D sessions as well.
Yeah, I was about to say I
Oh.
want to play D&D with you, dude. That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
One thing I'm doing, this is a little thing I broke trying to 3D print it, is give out little like tokens and coins like with little faction symbols on them. So like, oh, here's like, though this one is obviously not finished and completely broken. It was supposed to be a pirate coin. It's like, oh, you found the secret pirate stash. You're gonna be in. You can actually sneak into their secret meetings.
Right.
Or I come up with some sort. Now, one thing I would like to make, and I'm working on it slowly, is cards, 3D printed cards with like the faction symbols or god symbols on them, so people can pick and choose them as they will. If you ever played any sort of like RPG that has card mechanics, where you can say, hey, like it's like I do this, and it has a big fireball on it, and then that can look like, okay, you realize that's centered around yourself, right? And then they blow up.
As my campaigns typically end up going, you know, I have a fireball wand, I roll a 1, turns out I'm pointing it backwards. It's a thing, right? So
I've given my online campaign, which actually includes a good number of the Overwatch Pretender staff and players, such as our own admin Spidey, who's playing a wood elf monk. I have recently given them the best magic item in the entire Dungeons and Dragons series, the Wand of Wonder.
Oh no. All right, well, you know what? Let's not spoil that for anyone just yet, because I don't want any D&D spoilers coming out for those who want to play it, because I remember my first encounter with the Wand of Wonder. And this isn't a D&D podcast. That's why.
It is not. However, I can transition saying, if the players know what they're doing, I have hidden throughout the world some rather familiar objects, such as maybe perhaps an orb of harmony, if they could find it.
Oh no. I wanted to ask, I want to play sort of a tiny game, sort of, you know, like as we wrap up here, and that's I'm gonna randomly choose, I'm gonna say 5 teams: Toxic Storm, Lightbringers, Breakthrough, Mild Esports, and Nova. All right. If they were D&D races and classes, who would they be?
Okay, well, again, I've been out for a while due to work, so I don't know all of those teams.
Okay,
Now,
fair enough.
Toxic Storm, D&D race and class.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm thinking dwarves.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I'm thinking very hardy, very drunk dwarves.
Yeah.
Who may be worshiping a god of lightning, or at least they're saying they are, or maybe
Got
it's just that's just the sparks from their hammers.
They're dwarf
let's see.
barians. Perfect.
Yes. Oh yes,
All
that's
right.
great. See, Nova.
Yeah.
Nova. They're elves. They've got to be elves.
Yeah,
High elves
okay.
The name like
specifically.
Nova.
Oh, are they magic or no? Or are they? What are they? Like elf sorcerers?
I could say no. They obviously made some deals. They're warlocks.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. What about Breakthrough? Tell me about Breakthrough. They're one of the newer teams.
Yeah, the Breakthrough is not a team I have had the privilege of playing against nor meeting. Unfortunately, again, I only got to play in season 1 and actually season 0 and 1. So I didn't get to meet Breakthrough unless some of the older team members are on them. So we're just going to give them. I'm just going to assign them a random race. Let's grab some dice here.
Oh no, we're
They are Ganassi.
perfect. They're elementals.
Their ancestors and some elementals had some good times.
Fun. All right. And the last one, Night Ops. You know, they are knights.
Drow.
Are they?
They're gotta be drow. They're drow.
Are they paladins or
It's an
black
easy one.
cards?
I mean, no, you see, here's how you do. If you're gonna go paladin, you gotta mid-max this nonsense. You gotta go paladin warlock. That way,
Oh, and
you
you're
are
Hexblade. Yeah. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
All right.
you're
We're
evil.
gonna axe this conversation right now. Sort of bringing it back over to Overwatch. If you want to play D&D, even learn about D&D, Lord of Nothing is, you know, definitely your go-to guy to talk to. Lord, thanks so much for being here. But before you head out, you know, the red carpet's all yours. Do you have anything to plug or anything you want to tell the family?
If you guys want to hit me up, I will start streaming back again. My art streams back over at twitch.tv, Lord of Nothing without the G because someone already took that. I am at Lord of Nothing on Twitter, Gab, and Minds. Don't try on Facebook because I abandoned that in 2009.
Alrighty. Hey, Lord, thanks so much for being here. And yeah, have a fantastic rest of your weekend and happy Thanksgiving.
And if you Thanksgiving, guys, and Merry Christmas because it is fastly approaching.
Thanks very much.
Hey, man.
Take care
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Alrighty, and we're coming out on the very last interview, and it's gonna be from Blue, and Blue's also gonna be joined by Cypher. So just because it looks like Blue was a little, you know, a little anxious, and he just wanted another teammate to be here. Blue, come on in. Come on in, both of you. Ooh.
Got the names right here.
Yikes, I hope so.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I just woke up, but I'm feeling good.
I feel like that's all of us. Like Puppy, he was telling me he was tired. I'm pretty tired because I had a nice half-hour nap between the hours of 4 and 5 a.m. And hey, Scythe, how are you? I heard you just woke up.
Oh my god, everybody's all backwards.
Is everyone all backwards? Well, you know
We'll fix
what? We're
this.
just gonna have a lot of whooshes.
We'll fix this on the slide, don't worry.
Yeah, Scythe, I don't think I can hear you.
Yeah.
I realized I was on push to talk. I forgot I changed it. I'm such a
You
idiot.
didn't even told me. I'm not on open mic. I'm on push to talk. Then you forget.
You know, I'm gonna change it so I can actually, you know, not forget this time.
Okay, well, and then sort of while you're doing that, first of all, thank you so much for both of you for making yourselves available. I know that for those who are on the Pacific Coast, 9 a.m. isn't a fun time to wake up on a Sunday, but nonetheless, it's always fun having both of you here. Why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Blue can go first. I'll let
Oh
him.
my God, I was gonna let you go first, but yeah. Anyway, my name is Blue, and I'm Polish, which Forbes didn't know. He didn't know I was a European somehow. I don't know how. But
We've never talked until now.
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah. Anyways, I'm the head coach for Lightbreakers. I don't know if I live up to the expectations all of the time, but dude, I'm trying my best.
Fair enough. And Blue, who are you joined by?
I'm joined by Cypher, which is our team captain, the best team captain in the fucking world, dude.
You guys already know me. I'm Cypher. I was on the podcast for the first one. I'm the main support. Not the main support player, but I play off heels. I'm on the starting roster, I guess you could say. I don't know. I'm just a support player who's kind of scuffed, but I'm happy to be here.
Fair enough. And from what I heard, Blue wouldn't exactly tell me, but you're just here for moral support, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Well, hey, fair enough. A lot of these questions were kind of directed toward Blue, but he's like, "Hey, can I have Cypher on?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds like fun." So Blue, I wanted to ask first about, you know, the big story within Lightbringers, and that is the loss of Adam X. Could you tell me a little bit about how he fit within your team and what it was like, sort of pre and post Adam X leaving, and how you guys are adjusting right now?
So the thing with Adam, like, I don't want to say too much because it was just really like mutual differences, I guess. And I really respect Adam. He's such a good friend, dude. And he was like, okay, dude, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say, but he was a really fucking important piece of Lightbringers, right? Yeah. So we've been trying a few people out, but the thing is, like, it's tough to find someone who can really fill his shoes. So we're kind of looking for like that miracle of a person, I would say. I don't know. So it's been kind of tough because this guy was so flexible, and it's just so difficult to find someone who's like able to fill that kind of role. And I don't know, he was just such a fun guy to be around. I hope everything goes well for him in his new team.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I wanted to ask how Whitebringers is preparing for the other upcoming matches. You know, coming up in the season.
You want to say something about that, Cypher? Because I've been kind of, yeah. You know.
There's been some stuff going on internally for Lightbringers, so I'll take over this. But with the loss of Adam X, it's kind of been a struggle for us. He was one of our main DPS that he was a very key role to Lightbringers that he really helped out with. And so we're been having to practice, like Blue said, find someone to fill the gap. And we're just trying to re-strengthen us, because at the beginning of the season, if you remember, we were seen as like, oh dude, Lightbringers is going to be stacked, they're going to do so good. GG's, easy clap. Not really though. And I want to get the team back to where we're working hard and getting all the coordination and just building up to be a strong roster that we were seen to possibly be.
Okay, fair enough. And do you think that sort of mentality of seeing Whitebringers within that light has changed over time at all, or no?
I'm thinking how to respond. Can you kind of rephrase that?
Sure. So you were saying that, Whitebringers was seen in a specific light, right? About like, hey, they're this type of team, exactly what you were saying. And I wanted to ask, do you think those, obviously, do you think those claims, they're not, are they justified, or, not really? Where does Lightbringer stand on sort of like internally reflecting on itself, with these expectations in mind?
I feel like we've gone through a bit of struggles this season, just like last season. I don't think it's as bad as last season, because last season's a whole different story from the beginning. But I feel like we've hit some bumps in the road with playing and trying to, I guess, eventually just build up and work together. I kind of lost what I was going to say in the process of speaking it, so I'm kind of trying to rephrase everything.
I do that all the time, don't worry about it. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I woke up
most of the time.
20 minutes ago. I'm better with writing things, so.
Fair enough. Actually, speaking of writing things, we have, a little something for you in particular, Cypher. Blue, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. So the thing is, I kind of lied because I wasn't nervous at all, because I wanted to get you a surprise, because I know there's a 2-month thing coming up of your fucking injury and stuff. So I just wanted to get something to my favorite team captain and a really good friend of mine. So
so as a bit of context, 2 months ago, Cypher, you had a foot injury.
Okay, yeah. During gymnastics practice, I fucked up my foot.
Right.
Sorry, I interrupted.
That's okay. And well, what Blue did was that he hit me up and he said, hey, I went around and got messages for Cypher from every single person in the team, and we wanted to give this to her in a big get well soon card. So Blue, this is you. Take it away. If you want to read the message, it's on the screen right now. And yeah, just go to town.
I'm not sure if I want to read it, but I just want to give I think I want to it's an intimate moment, so I wanted to leave it to her. But I want to say dude, I meant everything I said, and you mean a lot to me, as a friend and as a team captain. I don't think anyone on OWP can fucking top you as a team captain and as a friend. So guys, you can keep trying, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
So, if anything, right now we're just sort of scrolling through messages that everybody on your team had sort of sent. I think they're going to be probably spamming you with a Google Doc soon, but it's coming up right now. Everyone give Cypher so much love from us. And And I really hope you feel so much better. And even though it's put you out of commission for a little bit, I mean, hey, you're strong enough to overcome that. I think I know that much about you over the course of these past month and a half.
Yeah, it's something I have to work with. I possibly might have surgery at the end of December, but I've just been trying to push through. At least my injuries really gave me a lot of time to work with OWP and Overwatch and just be able to be there a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shaky right now on my computer.
Good.
I expected this because he just came out of the blue and he's like, "Yo, want to join a podcast?" And I was like, he
was the
never
blue,
mentioned
I like
anything
it.
about podcast. I didn't realize I even do that, but dude, I knew it. I even told him yesterday. I was like, "Yo, something's up. This podcast
I'm like,
is not gonna
nah, dude, it's all good. Don't fucking worry about it. It's okay.
So everyone, on the behalf of the pod, and of course on the behalf of Blue and the very, very wonderful Lightbringers who wanted to do this for someone, if that's not team support, I don't know what is. Everyone send get well soon messages to Cypher, because I mean, hey, we all know how enthusiastic she is despite being injured. So just imagine how she's gonna be like when she's back up on both of her feet. That's for sure. So yeah, that's we actually wanted to end the pod sort of on this moment, but hey, Cypher, sorry for faking you out on this big interview. How are you feeling?
I'm about to tear up. It's
Good. I'm really glad you feel the love from that. All of that all of OWP's definitely has your back. I know a lot of people came out when we asked for well wishes to be sent to Achilles. A lot of people came out when, oh gosh, remember like the GoFundMe for myself? That's still weird. Follow up on that soon, by the way. And yeah, I just want to use this opportunity to reiterate to everyone that OWP is definitely a community. We're all here for you, and I definitely know that wonderful things can get done when we all, put our heads together. That's for sure.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course, yeah. Right now, this is your moment to sort of process everything. We're just kind of here eating the popcorn.
Well, I do want to mention that I'll kind of go a little personal, just a little bit.
Sure.
Ever since I joined, like, I'm not gonna go full on story. I'm sorry, I'm actually crying right now.
Good.
Dude, that's not a bad thing, don't worry.
Gonna make me cry.
Before I joined OWP back in April, I was kind of in a rough spot. It wasn't good for me. It just was a really bad time, and I was able to join, be a part of a team, be something dedicated, and I could not be more happier. I love this community. It's probably one of my favorite things. I'm always connected to it. What am I gonna say? It's probably one of my favorite things I've been a part. I couldn't ask for more. I'm so happy that I saw that invite from Reddit that one day.
They're
so
crying eyes.
It's me right now, but I'm honest. I love all of you guys on OWP. You guys are amazing. It changed my life. I've never been more happier, and I legit couldn't be more thankful to be a part of this amazing community.
And you know what? We're definitely really, really happy to have you. That's for sure.
Definitely, dude.
Well, I think I thought I'd have an easier way to sort of transition out of this and sort of into the ending of a podcast. But I mean, hey, let's all take a moment and think to yourselves like what you're thankful for, and if it's in OWP, like what your coaches know, let your team managers know, let your staff know that hey, that we're thankful for everything that they do in the server, and just how welcoming everyone's been to everyone. Because I definitely feel that too. And I guess sort of on that note, Pops, I'm gonna miss the hell out of you, dude. Like, why you gotta be going? Like, why you gotta be going now? I have to find a new co-host and everything, and no one's gonna match in my mind your caliber. But I mean, I can't say that on air. Oh, whoops!
Oh, Kool-Aid, dude.
But you know, I'm gonna use this opportunity to, of course, after, you know, we can talk about that. But right now, sort of the moment is yours. Any plugs you guys might have, Cypher and/or Blue. Tell me a little bit about, you know, what you got, you know, what you guys got going on in your life. Anything you want to promote?
You can go first.
I mean, obviously, I just want to go give like a huge shout out to my team and like to you especially for holy shit, you fucking went out of your way for this. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for making this happen. Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone on Lightbringers and all my freaking friends in that freaking Lightbringer server. You guys are fucking amazing. And especially the people who actually got back to me with messages. I know like everyone, people have stuff going on. I know like you might be busy. Thank you so much like to take the time out of your day and actually write something for Cypher.
I guess
right.
I can mention. I already wrote like paragraph long things for my team members. I almost called them family members in for Thanksgiving they already got the stuff. I mean all of it. I honestly love everyone on OWP. If you guys ever need someone to talk to, I'm here for you guys. I'm honestly always here to talk and everything. If you ever need people to talk to, come join the Lightbringers Discord. We have so many people. It's always ready to talk. It's pretty great, right? Forebears, you can recommend it, right?
Of course, there's a specific emote in there, Cypher W. That's just a close-up of Cypher's face that I just love using all the time. That's the only reason I'm in the Lightbringers Discord, just so I can spam that ever so often.
We have to thank Blue and who else for making that, but it's such a good family. I'm so happy for everyone, and just always come join more. We're always down to talk more and everything. Plugs. I'll mention this because I didn't last time. Adam X, he streams a lot. You should watch his stream. He's pretty good at it. I would plug in my stream, but I haven't started yet. But I have a streaming Discord, so if anyone wants to join that, I'm gonna be making it where we can chat. So if you ever want to just talk, because I feel like it would just be very great. You can always hit me up and invite. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for right now. I'm just kind of in shock.
All right. Well, why don't both you take a second, you know, sort of parse through anything you're feeling right now. But thank you so much for being here, and we really look forward to seeing what Lightbringers is bringing in the future. All right. Take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, dude.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, take care. See ya.
Oh my lord, it's still broken.
Why
is it broken? Oh, I know why it's broken. Okay.
All right.
Half our face.
Beep,
Be
beep.
good.
Technical difficulties.
We're
Hey,
good.
it's my hairline.
We're back.
We're back.
Oh, brilliant.
But in any case, you know, that does wrap up the pod. But before everyone, you know, bounces out, I do wanna just say, like, hey, puppy, thank you so much for everything, you know, you do. You're the one who allowed me to get involved in the podcast in the first place, and it's really become a big part of my life, just going out, you know, incentivizing me to be a lot more social in the Overwatch Pretenders Discord. You know, I definitely credit, you know, the title of the big brother of the server to you, because I feel like it was you who really inspired me to take that more mature stance on things. And dude, I'm just gonna miss you a ton. Like, fuck, dude. Like, it's I mean, it's one thing to lose you as a teammate, but now I can't see your face every Sunday. It's gonna be, I'm gonna have puppy withdrawal, and I'm gonna need my coaches to hold me as soon as that happens. So,
I guess now is a good time to kind of express my thanks and kind of appreciation to the community as well. Sort of echo exactly what Cypher said. It's just a fantastic community to be part of, and I know that I myself has gone through a lot of personal stuff, and this, you know, community helped me sort of get through that as well. And I know everybody kind of like has managed to kind of make something positive out of nothing really to begin with, and I think that's just such a credit to other people that around ourselves. You know, obviously with sort of me departing, it's going to be difficult for me. I want to see this community grow something, you know, much bigger than it is now, and I'm sure it will do that with the kind of commitment that people are putting towards it. And yeah, I love you guys a lot, like more than I can say. I'm not gonna cry. I'm struggling, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, you are.
So I'll be back in 6 months, and I'll see you all, and I'll make sure that I come back and voice crack. Monitor went off. Everything's going wrong. Yeah, so I'll come back in 6 months and speak to all you guys. I'll stay in touch in the meanwhile. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to host this with you four bears, and to host it for you guys out there watching. But yeah, I didn't really have much else to say.
Well, I guess we got to take care of, I guess, just the requisite closing things. Of course, everyone, we love you. If you like what you heard, let us know. If you don't like what you heard, hey, let us know. That sort of feedback helps a lot. If you want to be more involved in the Overwatch Pretenders server, you know, join the Discord. If you're just coming in, join Pugs. You know, they're always really fun, and I think they've been hurting for a little bit. I think we're starting to have the idea of like an anime night every Wednesday, so kind of be on the lookout for that. If that's your style, I'll be there definitely. And you know, I just hope everyone had a really good Thanksgiving. And of course, I guess, yeah, you know, your homework was, like I said earlier, like, let your coaches know you're thankful for them. Let your team managers know you're thankful for them. Let your teammates know you're thankful for them. That's going to be something I'm going to be doing right now, because you definitely see how much a little love can go a long way. So this is Four Bears and Puppy signing off. And hey, check out those matches week 4.
See you guys. Peace.
See ya.
All I wanna do, all I wanna do, all I wanna do is be right there for you, be right next to you. Wait a minute. Be right next to you. All I wanna do, all I wanna do, all I wanna do, I wanna be there for you. I wanna be there with you. All I wanna do, all I wanna do, all I wanna do is be right there for you, be right next to you. I know it's hard.